My name is Nate Everett, and I'm a history teacher at Sandwich High School. And a few years ago, inspired by, I think, a few other organizations that were spending some time focusing on civic engagement within public schools, like the Center for Civic Education, the Edward Kennedy Institute around Boston, and the League of Women Voters here on the Cape. I started an after-school extracurricular group called the Civic Action Team, and the goal was to help students answer the question of how civic engagement can help students become leaders in their community. The idea was to create the opportunities for students to allow them to learn about issues in their local community, their state, their nation, and the world, and then choose issues that they felt were important to them to become more civically active with. And so a number of those opportunities have taken place over the years, including an idea for a humanitarian fair at Sandwich High School, which started last year with its inaugural event, and that was the brainchild of Jacob Swenson, who has worked over the last 2 years, I can tell you, countless hours trying to connect with local civic leaders and community leaders, people throughout the state, the community within Sandwich High School, and the students of Sandwich High School, to allow them to showcase the work that they've done on issues concerning their community, and also call on them to become more involved and more inspired. And so I just wanted to introduce Jacob here as a truly outstanding student with incredible drive, energy, and a strong desire to make his world a better place. Absolutely. So it's an honor to work with him.
All right. So thank you for that introduction. So I want to thank you all again for inviting me here today. It's a pleasure to really highlight what's going on at Sandwich High School and also be a representative of all the different students and clubs at our school. And I think that's one thing that you'll find out that the Sandwich High School Humanitarian Fair and Exhibits was really able to encapsulate of just getting all these different groups involved. So first off, I'm just going to introduce myself a little bit. My name is Jacob Swenson again. I'm a junior at Sandwich High School, and I am a member of the Sandwich High School Civic Action Team, like Mr. Everett pointed out. And so just to contextualize, I guess, sort of the background of how I came up with the idea of the fair. So it started back in actually the fall of 2017. I started thinking of different ways all the clubs and students at our school could become more unified and create sort of an event that would highlight everything that they do. Because at the school we have a lot of different clubs, groups, and students who are interested and do a lot of progressive social advocacy. And so I thought there needed to be some sort of platform that enhances the message and sort of allows recognition for these groups, but also allows people to know what is actually going on and what these groups are doing and what they stand for. And so that's sort of how the idea of the Humanitarian Fair came along. Essentially, I just wanted an event to showcase all the different projects that were going on at the school. So with the help of Mr. Everett and Mr. Mulcahy that first year, last year we were able to sort of put on a Kickstarter event, I want to say. It was, in my opinion, successful for a first year. We had a lot of students involved and a lot of people came out to that. However, for this year, I kept thinking, how can we make this bigger and better? Because I think every year something needs to improve, something more needs to be done. And so I did some data analysis based on responses from participants and also people who attended, and then some personal reflection on how we could improve basically the event. And so that's how we came up with the idea for this year of improving our community. We wanted a theme that would be able to involve all the different groups within the process. And so we thought one common thing that every single student and group involved in the fair had in common was improving the community. And so I just want to read off some of the objectives of the fair just to sort of establish the idea of it. So some of the objectives are to create a platform for groups and individuals to share and acknowledge the great work they have done in the school and community, allow students, parents, and teachers the opportunity to experience what high school students are doing and discover the opportunities available to them and how they can get involved. as well as establishing a sense of community and care among students, parents, and faculty by incorporating a large level of interactiveness, present information on issues deemed important by a variety of clubs, organizations, and speakers, and motivating others to become more involved within the presented projects or to even create their own project. And so that's sort of where the whole slogan of the fair comes in, of get informed, get inspired, get involved. We want people to learn from the fair, but also get inspired from everything that they've seen and hopefully motivate them in the future to get more involved themselves. So this year, like I said, I wanted to make it bigger and better. So that included having more people come to the fair, having more students participate into the fair, and I also started thinking about how can we get people more civically engaged within the fair and all the people attending. And so that's how the idea came about this year, to sort of invite people from outside of the school to enhance and bring about new awareness to the school and hopefully bridge a connection between students and attendants and also local community members. And so that's how the idea of inviting different politicians, political groups, environmental advocacy organizations, and different candidates for office to come to the fair. So if we skip to the next slide. So here's sort of our schedule of events for the fair itself. It happened Thursday night and Friday morning. So here's just sort of a list of all the people who we invited who came to the fair and gave featured presentations, basically on topics regarding their position within their group or whatever they were running for. Actually, Mr. Holden, who's in the audience, was there tonight, and we had Miss Bader and Miss Ames and Miss Erickson come. And so thank you for them for coming again, and everyone else who came. It was nice to have them there. And so they really sort of added this year to that idea of improving the community, because we wanted that group of people who represented in our actual community how they want to bring about change and what they want to do to improve it. So as for different groups that were involved this year, there was a plethora of clubs, classes, and individuals. So I'm just going to give some examples of some of the presentations there were. There was the STEM Water for South Sudan project. They discussed the issues of water contamination and girls' access to water in countries like Sudan. Additionally, there was the STEM art classes and club, as well as the National Art Honor Society, and they discussed how art can bring about change and improve the community, and they provided some of their own unique political and social awareness projects. The Civic Action Team actually discussed ranked choice voting and a lot of calls for modern-day election reform. And then there were also the Women in Technology Club, who talked about the need for more women in STEM fields. And then there were more presentations like the Gender Roles class, who talked about intersectional feminism, as well as presentations regarding immigration reform, the anti-vaccine movement, peaceful movements throughout history, LGBTQ visibility, sexual assault awareness and prevention. And there was just basically a lot of topics that different students found important that applied to sort of how we could improve our community by bringing about more awareness. So if we skip to the next one. So here are just some pictures of the different featured presenters who came. You can go to the next one. There's another slide. And so if we move to the next one. So here are just some examples of the student presentations that there were. As you can see, there were different clubs, classes, and students involved. And so those are just some pictures from it. You can move to the next one. And there are some more. So in total, there were about 10 featured presentations from different speakers involved. There were over 25 student presentations from individuals as well as groups. And I would say there were around 150 to 200 people who came, if we add up the amount of people who came at night as well as during the day. And so if we move to the next slide, I'm just going to sort of run off some congratulations because we actually had awards this year. So these are students who I thought deserved recognition because they went above and beyond with their projects. So the first one is for Teddy Byron for outstanding artwork for his multiple pieces of artwork. If you can see at the bottom, he did a bunch of pieces about forgotten women throughout history and trailblazers when it comes to issues regarding female equality. If we move to the next one. Here's just a short little poem that Maxine Bouvier wrote, and she won an award for outstanding poem or literary work for writing about the California fires that were going on, and she brought a lot of awareness to environmental degradation through this poem, so that's just an example of one of her pieces of work there. If we move to the next one. The next one is for Nina Sundermeyer for Best Overall Presentation regarding the International Studies Program. There was a wide array of flags, and yeah, she's up there right now filming.
On the camera tonight.
Yeah, and I thought she just really was able to talk about how not just community change happens, but global change happens through programs like the UN, and then the Model United Nations Club that we have at our school. And then the last one we have here is Mrs. Claybolt's 8th grade STEM English class. They won an award for excellence in presentation skills and tech integration. They had an interactive social advocacy websites that they actually displayed on some of the new school TVs that they had in their touch screens. So it was a variety of websites that the class made to sort of go through the different projects that they have. And so that's kind of just an overview of all the things that were going on at the fair. So if you have any questions, I can answer them. But I sort of just wrote up this one last quote that I think sort of represents all of the students' beliefs who are involved within the fair. So to quote, "We believe as a group of students, as a group of community members, and as a group of citizens of the world, that we can work together to improve our communities in so many different ways. This event is a platform to showcase and foster the type of change we hope to see in our town, state, country, and world. As young people of the world, we hope our advocacy shows that the future is bright and that Sandwich High School is a unique place full of students wishing to make an impact on their community and world." So that's sort of what just happened, I guess, this past year with the fair.
Like it was nothing.
That's all. That's it, right?
Fantastic.
Incredibly well done. Impressive.
I just wanted to say that along with Carrie Ames and Sherry, I had the opportunity to attend this event, and it was a privilege. And I stand in awe of Jacob and everything he's accomplished, his incredible ability to be articulate in front of a group, and his ability to express his truly passionate love of the school and of mankind in general is very inspirational. And I think that you definitely accomplished your goal. When I left after attending your event, I really did feel inspired to get involved, and that's part of the reason that I'm so happy to have the opportunity to be here today. And I just think we're very blessed to have you and Mr. Everett as advocates to speak up for our schools and share these amazing things that our students are doing. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And the
Carrie?
best part of it is, none of them are seniors this year.
I want to make sure that, Jacob, you get the credit you deserve. Every student I spoke to at that fair said it would not have happened. Their project would not have been as enhanced as it was without your mentorship and encouragement. Every one of them. So congratulations to you on making a phenomenal fair. And to the students that did participate, I wasn't, not that I should be in shock, but when I was in high school, we were not that, like, smart. The subjects that they broached, and they weren't afraid to broach really scary subjects that most people would be like, oh, we can't talk about that in Sandwich. And the fact that we've changed that mentality in our school is a tribute to Mr. Mulcahy and to you for mentoring these students to allow them and giving them their voice. It's incredible. And that I was just overwhelmed, but you should be so proud of yourself.
Thank you.
And all to the advisors that lead them, because there's always a fine line in education. We always get a little nervous where people have preconceptions about what our views are, and to be able to, it doesn't matter what our views are, is to be able to allow students to have these thoughts and opinions and advocate for it and do it in a respectful way. And I echo that, because I think I'm so impressed with everything they do every day. So I'm an easy one to win over, though. They're so good. So good.
I don't know who couldn't have watched both of those presentations and be really proud to be part of Sandwich right now. So
Doing some really good things. So
it's exceptional. So thank you.
thank you both for giving up your
Thank
time
you so
tonight.
much
We
for having
appreciate
us.
it.